Welcome to Felicity Banquet Hall, where unforgettable memories are made. Whether you're planning a wedding, birthday party, corporate meeting, or any special gathering. Why choose us? We are spacious, elegant, and fully air-conditioned hall. Customizable seating for up to 200 guests. Beautiful decor and lighting options. On-site kitchen and catering services. We are available 7 days a week. Located at Rashid Avenue, Kakandi Road, Felicity, Shogunas. Call the number on the screen today and book now. Welcome to Island Express Hardware, where we work with your budget. We supply all paints, all brands, and all sizes. And we are, of course, the cheapest in Trinidad. We also supply pumps and water tanks, and we also have them in combo deals. Visit us for the best friendly customer service. Need steel, beams, and purlins? We got that. We have top quality lats and boxing board, plyboards, gypsum boards, you name it. Do you love to fish? Have no fear, cause we have all the gears. Visit Island Express Hardware today, located at Rashid Avenue, Kakandi Road, Felicity, Shogunas.
Okay, my friends, pleasant good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you who are locked on, those of you who are anticipating our program, Hardfacts, that is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting time 12:15 in the afternoon. This is your lunch break, my friends. Those of you who are locked on, this is your lunchtime appetizer, where many of you are having your lunch break at this point in time in Trinidad and Tobago, because basically when you are in North America, maybe there will be some hours difference. Again, when you are further down, maybe the east, you're going to realize that the hours might change, but in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, it is lunchtime here. And hence the reason myself and my staff, we have decided to launch our program at 12:15, where those of you who are eating, having your lunch, maybe you can give us a shout. Call us at 372-2129. That's the number you can reach us at, where you can identify the challenges, the anomalies, and whatever plaguing the country. Maybe you understand it in a different context. Maybe you can share those contexts with us, or your opinion when it comes to matters of relevance. Again, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago, those of you who are locked on, you have the opportunity. You have that opportunity whereby you can call me. You can identify what has transpired basically over the weekend. I know for a fact there were many sporting activities taking place, because I went down to San Fernando yesterday. And my friends, I saw when we were coming back, there were projects going on where the landslip is on the highway. I saw 1 or 2 different areas. There were small projects going on. And again, my friends, it is really and truly imperative, those of you who are locked on, you have a voice. You can call me, and maybe you can identify some of the challenges and the anomalies that is plaguing you on a daily basis. I am your host, Imam Rashid Karim, and my friends, we are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays for 1 hour, where we identify and we try to, educate our citizens, because a lot of things is happening in the political foray. A lot of things is happening in the political foray, especially when it comes to basic amenities. And you know something, Trinidad and Tobago, I want to let you all know something. The PNM was in government for the past 10 years. And I tell you something, when the PNM was in power, many of those ministers mentioned in Parliament. They mentioned in Parliament, it is our time now. It is our time now. So if you know what is good, keep your mouth shut and let us flow and let us move with the flow, basically. And that is what that individual minister said in Parliament. And now we are seeing, my friends, we are seeing a meltdown when it comes to the PNM, a total meltdown, and that is basically when you have bad leadership. When you have bad leadership, my friends, you know what is going to happen? You're going to remain in that position. Maybe you, your friends and family are the only ones who is going to benefit from the different strategic programs that the government has to offer for the citizens of our country. I am seeing that the Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Barry Padarat, he's taken a really and truly full stent of the political scenarios when it comes to governmental representation and governmental powers, where he is identifying the anomalies and the challenges that took place in the past regime when it comes to, programs like CPEP and so forth. Now, I tell you something. I will tell you all something. We have to be very, very mindful. A lot of people might think that, here what? People were telling me, and people were meeting with me and asking me, hey, and you was a CPEP contractor? Yes, I was a CPEP contractor. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. And it was not basically, I applied and I got through. And basically, I run my course. I run my course, did my job, and I did it in the area of Felicity, Shogunas, Caroni Savannah Road, and a lot of things we did, because when you look at CPEP, it is an enhancement program, as the minister have mentioned, and we enhance our community, unlike what we were seeing in the past. We were seeing things that people were going outside there, yes, but when you look at the kind of, I tell you something, I don't know, some of you might be really and truly fortunate and lucky, but I tell you something, anything I do, somehow or the other, individual me, Rashid Karim, I am under the periscope. Even on this program, people are only waiting for me to make an error or make a mistake so that they can challenge me and they can, they can bring down my character and my name. That's it. People doesn't look at the good things that you are doing. And I want you all to know, Trinidad and Tobago, I belong to many, many organizations in our country, especially the Islamic organization. I belong to the Anjuman Sunatul Jamaat Association, and number one. I am the chairman of the Islamic Fidel Services Trust. I'm the Imam of the Felicity Mosque. And I am a political activist, whether you like it or not, because I mentioned to you last week, I went to renew our insurance, and that insurance company said, and they were asking me to refile and resubmit application for the insurance, and on that it would have been, I am politically tainted. Politically tainted, why? Because I speak for justice, I speak for truthfulness, and I talk about things that is happening on the streets. I talk about, what is happening in our country, what is happening around the world, and who vex laws. Because I tell you something, I have nothing to gain. Whatever I have is not really and truly mine. I am only a custodian. I am only a keeper of it. You understand? I am only a keeper of it, and maybe after my demise, somebody is going to take over the reign. And many leaders don't think like that. Many leaders don't think like that. You know what they think? That, I want to be leader till I dead. I want to be leader till I die. That's the policy. And they don't care how many persons that they crush. They don't mind, don't really care how much people they devastate, how many lives they ruin. They don't care about that. All they're concerned with is themselves, and themselves. And that is what I am seeing. The government of the day is trying to really and truly bring some changes when it comes to development, when it comes to board, directorship, and so many things is happening. When we look at the ministers in this government, we look at the United National Congress ministers, we look at people like Khadija Amin, Jolene John, Ravi Ratiram, we look at Barry Padarat, and the list continues. We look at David Lee, and those ministers, we look at Neil Gosain. You understand? We look at all these ministers, and you will realize that they have hit the ground. They have been challenging, the situations that has prevailed for the past 10 years. And you know something, Trinidad and Tobago, I am sure, and I told you all this, if out of this tenure, this government only remove the property tax, I would be satisfied. I have already achieved. Because you know why? A lot of poor people in our country who was devastated, who could not sleep, who were emotionally traumatized, who was destroyed emotionally simply because, and I always mention this, and I'm going to continue mention this, there was one woman, that was one lady, my friends, who purchased material for her roof. And when Colin Imbert, he put that deadline date, and if you don't pay up by that time, you're going to be fined and so forth. This lady was so much scared. She came and she take the money, and she take the money for the materials, and she went and paid property tax. Now we are not hearing anybody saying anything about the property tax. If the property tax was in some fund, right? Some fund that they place that in, I am sure that it is going to be retrievable, and people could get refund by means of different measures. Right? When it comes to governmental agencies, you give them coupons or give them something like that so that they can have it. And whenever they have to pay anything, when it comes to government revenue, my friends, they can use that coupon so that they can, like for example, you're going to renew your passport, right? You could use it there. You're going through whatever. There's many things that could be, the monies can be introduced back into the government coffers. So Trinidad and Tobago, I want to ask you all, those of you who are locked on, this program, Hardfacts, is your program. It is a program that is designed to deal, those of you who are calling this number here, please don't call this number. Call 372-2129. This number here is not hooked to that number. And it seems as though many of you are maybe in your job, in your business places, you are not looking at the program. Look at the program on either YouTube, look at the program either on Facebook or TikTok, and you're going to realize that the number is there, 372-2129. Call that number, and we can really and truly mediate and have some really and truly good discussions. I've been calling for the past 2 months. Government is approximately 2 months old, and I've been calling initially on Homeland Security Minister, right, the Honorable Roger Alexander. Hear what? You need to really and truly come clean and come forward. A lot of people really and truly, they are not seeing any changes when it comes to the crime aspect. We have not seen anything that have been initiated with the exception of what? Where the Commissioner of Police have stated that police officers can take their firearms home. And really and truly, that would be a preventative measure for them, for themselves and their family. What about the lay citizen? What about the lay citizens in our country? Right? What about the people who have made application? I am seeing another thing happening now that you have to go and reapply. That is so unfair. And I'm telling you something, there's a lot of litigation is going to take place. A lot of people is going to sue the government because, you know what? When the past government, so if the case is that every time a government change, all the policies will have to change, I think that is not so. If the policies is encroaching on the rights of citizens of the country, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. Changes, just like how you are changing board members, and I've been lamenting, I've been, challenging, I've been telling people, something, if you have a board and that board does not subscribe to the mentality or the agencies of the government of the day and the progress that the government would like to implement, my friends, I would tell you something. I think that all members of the board, knowing for a fact that they were politically appointed, all political appointment is a clear-cut case. All politically appointed individuals on board should automatically, after the government loses election, they should tender their resignation. Why you all staying there? Why you all staying there knowing for a fact that you were copycatting and you were doing exactly what the government, because I tell you something, this new board, let me give you an example. All these new boards that has been placed right now, they cannot go against the government wishes. Whether you like what I'm saying or not, I'm very fair. I'm very, very fair in reporting. I'm coming clean. I'm telling you as it is. And I'm challenging those persons who think otherwise. Come forward, call me 372-2129 and let us have discussion. Because here what, if for example the Ministry of Agriculture, maybe the minister have his plans and with his team and his individuals who are aiding him, whether directions, whether it be when it comes to planting gardens or dealing with, insect and whatever, right? You can have a board there opposing the Minister of Agriculture or opposing any ministry when it comes to, the programs that the government has or will want to implement. You can't do that. So that's the reason why I tell you something. Those positions that were politically motivated and politically appointments were made by political entities, they should resign once the government has lost election. I tell you an example, people are lamenting, you know something, we are seeing people trying to be human now. We are seeing people trying to be human now. Right? They're trying to be human. And you know something? Trinidad and Tobago, when the last government was in office, they cut, when the United National Congress, right, came into office in 2010. When they came into office in 2010, my friends, what happened? They remained there for 5 years. And in 2015, there were people who received contract maybe in 2013, 2012, 2014, and their contract would have been valid for maybe 2 years after the government, after they lost the election. And I tell you something, for example, myself, forthwith they were cut. And basically, they were cut, but the contractors were cut, not the CPEP workers. Because basically the same very said, and who think otherwise, I'm telling you something, it is untrue. Because basically if a new contractor come into being or come into the play of receiving a contract, basically the area, because when you look at it, community enhancement, right? Empowerment, community, that's CPEP, right? And I'll tell you something, the people in the area who the contractor, like for example, if you get a contract in Shogunas West, maybe Felicity, Shogunas, or wherever, you cannot bring people from Arima, Aruca, and Sangre Grande. Why? Because basically it would not be feasible. It would not be feasible. So I am telling you, those persons who are lamenting, especially, you know something, I had a lot of respect for Penelope Beckles, huh? Really and truly, I had a lot of respect, knowing for a fact that she was very soft-spoken and she was this, and you know, she was really and truly bringing considerate debate when it comes to political issues. But when I see, like, you know, it seems as though once you go in that position, you have to attack like a pit bull. And you have to talk out of context. And you have to talk mobilang. And that is the way that people are going to rate you as a good leader. People are going to tell you you are a good leader when you are mobilang. Right? When you are talking out of context. When you are being abusive. When you are trying to degrade women and men. And you are trying to degrade individual human beings. Whether it be in parliament or out of parliament. Then you are a good leader. But to me, that is not correct. That is not correct. That maybe it might be politically correct. But I tell you something, morally and spiritually, it is not correct. And I believe, you know something, I would have expected the Honorable Opposition Leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckles, to really and truly work with the system, because she is a seasoned politician. She was one woman, I tell you something, she was one woman that I met in Felicity, and I went outside and I greeted her. She came in front of the Felicity Masjid. Right? She was walking there, she was walking nice and calm and peaceful. And I doubt if she remember me, but I was there by the masjid at that time. It would have been around maybe 5:30 in the evening, close to the 6 period there. And you know, so I saw her coming. I went outside there and greeted her, and we had a small chit chat, and that was it. I would have expected, being in the position right now, for the betterment of the citizens of our country, not the betterment of the contractors. You have three, and you know something, they are calculating numbers, and you know something, they're good with numbers, huh? But when they were in government, they were not good with numbers. Now they're good with numbers. They're calculating everybody who is going to be affected. 11,500 individual CPEP workers is going to be cut. And when you multiply that by the family members who are supposed to be taken care of, or who are benefiting from the spoils and the salaries of the CPEP workers, they would add 5 by a family of 5. So they would reach to the figure about close to approximately 60,000 people is going to be affected. But that is something that, let me tell you something, you all knew that when you all did it. You all did it. So don't come and blame the United National Congress now and say that they are cutting and they are doing this and they are doing that. You know something with me? I tell you something. If the United National Congress is doing something contrary, and they are doing something that is erroneous, and they are doing something that I really and truly doesn't subscribe to, I will come here and say it. I will come here and say it. What is wrong that, you know, the Honorable Barry Pararat is saying something, and he's making 100% sense. Why it is that there was no financials? Why there were no financial? Is CPEP your father business? Is CPEP belonging to you and your relatives? Why it is that there were no financial? And you know the problem, I was saying this on this program, my friends. I was saying this over and over, that the United National Congress, being in the opposition, they were, you know, a smooth ride for the PNM. They were a smooth ride. They were taking it easy. This is why, you know, I tell you all again and again and again, the United National Congress really and truly has to remain in office, and they have to demonstrate. They have to demonstrate to the other political parties how to treat citizens in any given country, whether it be Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be anywhere else. It is a moral standard, has to be set by whom? By the United National Congress, my friends. And I ask you all, those of you who are locked on, call me and tell me, well, here what, Imam, you know what Barry Padarat is doing? Is he writing? It is the writing.
A select few in this country continuing to benefit from the largesse of the state and living off the fat of the land. And the People's National Movement engaged in what I describe as political prostitution of CPEP. Since 2018, CPEP has not submitted audited financial statements to the Ministry of Public Utilities, as is mandated in the law. CPEP has been flagged by the Central Audit Committee of the Ministry of Finance as it relates to their questionable hiring practices. CPEP must be a transitionary.
So all those things that the minister is saying, if you all feel that that is maybe false, maybe that is fake news, maybe that is AI generated, maybe you can call 372-2129 and let's have some discussion. Because I tell you all something, my friends, when you look at the status of our country at this point in time, you understand, as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to say this again, that draconian property tax that was implemented, right, that was implemented by the past government, and again, when United National Congress came into office, as was part of their manifesto that they will get and eradicate property tax, I am happy with that. Why? Because a lot of poor people, a lot of same CPEP workers, let me come back to the CPEP workers, the very said CPEP workers who are working for menial figures. We're talking about $110 a day, $120 a day after tax and so forth. My friends, I tell you all something. Right? They had to cut money from that to pay for food, pay for school, pay for whatever they had to do. And then they have to pay the government for property tax. So the government in one hand, because a lot of people are saying that CPEP and those URP programs and so forth is a drain in the economy. I fought tooth and nail and explained to them, I explained to people that you might be well off, you might have a business, you might have, you know, your children working. You might have a government job. You might have, you know, something going for you. You are a farmer. But many of those CPEP workers, they are really and truly, that is the bread line. That is the bread line. That is the thing that put bread on their tables. Right? And again, if you just imagine you are 60,000 depending on CPEP. The Honorable Minister Barry Padarat is saying emphatically clear that some changes has to take place. But basically, the workers are going to get back their jobs. And basically, that is normally, that had happened in the past. It is going to happen again because this, you know, every government in every country, whether it be first world or third world country, they would have instilled, you know, programs where people can get, you know, some sort of tithes or some sort of, you know, monies that is the government going to pay some kind of relief or give some kind of relief when it comes to the government. Being in the government, because there will be poor people, there will be people who are not working, there are people who, you know, might be maybe basically not inclined to do a full day's work, which is 8-9 hours per day, and CPEP really and truly is a half-day work. It's a couple hours work, right? So the government of the day, I'm sure, will initiate and bring back programs, maybe that will govern in the same concept of CPEP, right? So again, those of you, don't take chain up. Don't take chain up and make it look as though they are the saints. Right? I mean, I have respect for certain people. I have respect for certain people. Let me just get something clear before I move. Being an imam, being a public figure, being a member of boards in religious institutions and so forth. When the government of the day, whether it be the PNM government, whether it be United National Congress government, when they give you an invitation to attend a function that is a public function in the public domain, which would have been the diplomatic center in Port of Spain, the diplomatic center, and you go across there, that doesn't make you a PNM or that doesn't make you a UNC. And you know something, the fickle-minded people outside there, they saw this, and I want to make this clear. Seeing me with Stuart Young and I think Minister of Agriculture in a photo in the front page of a newspaper, that doesn't make me PNM. That doesn't make me PNM. You understand? So don't come with that rubbish and say that Imam crossed the floor and Imam went. Let me tell you something. Trinidad and Tobago, when you are a public figure, that's the reason why I said I have a lot of respect for Penelope, because whether you like it, because I say that here on this program, am I a PNM? If I say, well, I do have a certain amount of respect for certain members of the United National Congress, does that make me an enemy of the United National Congress for speaking the truth? Right? So I want you all to know this. Trinidad and Tobago, I want you all to know this, that there's a new government in power, approximately 2 months old, and you are hearing people barking like pit bulls. I tell you something, let them rock so. Let them rock so. Let the government really and truly initiate their programs, and let us see. Let us see what is going to happen, right? Don't castigate and criticize before any performance is really made, because right now when you look at what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago, yeah, the government has to find out where the money is going to come from, because when you look at close to $1 trillion spent in 10 years, people say that we don't have money, but you know how much money was spent? If Trinidad and Tobago don't have any money, how come a budget normally is $60 billion? Where they going to, that's 60 billion button, that's 60 billion grains of sand, that is 60 drops of water, 60 billion drops of water. No, it is $60 billion. And that money has to be coming from somewhere. It has to be generated via the GDP of any country. Right? So don't come back and tell me it has no money in the country. It has money in the country because a lot of people paying taxes. A lot of things happening in the country. So what we need to do is whatever monies that is generated and whatever monies that is floating around in the country has to be spent for development purposes in Trinidad and Tobago. Director, let's take a break.
Welcome to Island Express Hardware, where we work with your budget. We supply all paints, all brands, and all sizes. And we are, of course, the cheapest in Trinidad. We also supply pumps and water tanks, and we also have them in combo deals. Visit us for the best friendly customer service. Need steel, beams, and purlins? We got that. We have top quality lats and boxing board, plyboards, gypsum boards, you name it. Do you love to fish? Have no fear, cause we have all the gears. Visit Island Express Hardware today, located at Rashid Avenue, Kakandi Road, Felicity Shogunas.
Innovate your space with Felicity Furniture and Appliances. Our pieces are of top quality, stylish and affordable. Dining and patio sets, sofas, wardrobes, freezers, beds, stoves and more. Visit our showroom at Lot 10B Pier Road, Felicity Shogunas. Quality you can trust, style you love.
Okay, my friends, welcome back to our program, Hardfacts, that is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I am your host, Imam Rashid Karim. And my friends, I'm here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays trying to make some dent when it comes to information sharing. A lot of people outside, you might know this, Trinidad and Tobago, and there's a lot of people who are bedridden. You all don't know this. And sometimes, I want to say a special hello to Ahmad, Mr. Jack. Normally they call him Jack the Giant Killer. who lives in he lives over the highway in Charlieville. And I want to say a special hello to our dear friend, Brother Clyde. Brother Clyde, who is also sick and ailing. And may God Almighty bless and grant all those persons who are sick, grant them relief and grant them shifa, a speedy recovery. And those persons really and truly who are maybe suicidal, who are broken emotionally, who are in full stress because of maybe financial strain, emotional problems and so forth. I don't want to sound like no preacher here. I don't want to sound like I don't really want this show to turn in that context, making it feel that, I am superficial by trying to inculcate religion. This is a political program, right? Whether you like it or not. I am identifying the challenges that is taking place in our country, and it really and truly deals with identifying systems, identifying situations where the government of the day can be eluded, they might be informed, and they will try their utmost best to correct the problems. I tell you all something, crime, and more crime. Over the weekend, the amount of, petty crimes, I see in this, it's like a movie, boy. It's like a movie. I see people getting tased. I see people boxing. I see people getting bashed. I see people, the amount of crime taking place in our country. That's the reason why I'm calling on the Minister of Homeland Security. You need to do something. Let's read. Brutal late night attack. Elderly woman beaten, choked and stripped. Used baseball bat in self-defense. Imagine this. Now, Director, hold back that. If that lady had a gun and she used that gun on that person, you know something? Maybe they would say that it was overkill. It was an overkill. And that's the reason why, the Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, she was speaking about situations like this. When people come to violate you, when people come to rape you, when people come to take your life, take your property, empty the clip. That is what she said. You will die for our land. You will die for the land. Family land dispute turned violent. Man shot in the neck by sibling in Lupino on Saturday. Teen brutally stabbed 15-year-old cousin in family dispute. Suspect taken into custody. Broken bottle used in the attack. My friends, Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of things is happening. Illegal pharmaceutical sales putting lives at risk. Let me tell you something. Stop there, Director. Stop there. I tell you something. You see advertising really and truly, it changed the minds, it changed the thinking, it changed the temperament of individuals. Sometimes you see an ad running over and over. Your wife makes some nice curry chicken and maybe some good dal puri or something like that. And you're eating and you're watching TV, right? And you're seeing maybe a KFC ad running, or you're seeing a pizza ad running, or you see some barbecue ad running. The ad distract you from your loving meal that your wife prepared for you. You know that, Trinidad and Tobago? You all know that? This is what the devastation ads, called like last week or the week before. I saw on social media just before a place of worship. They had a billboard. Right? Imagine this. This is the kind of test that human being has to go through on a daily basis. I think that would have been somewhere in South, right? It was close to a masjid where the driveway to the masjid, there's a big sign in front there, and some company put that there with kind of half naked kind of, photos and so forth. Now these are things, is distraction. As I tell you, your wife makes some nice dal puri and curry chicken. That's my favorite. That's the reason why I said that. Dal puri and curry chicken is my favorite thing. I could jot on that every time. But again, you see KFC ad running, pizza ad running, this ad running, juicy barbecue running, all these things running. Basically, your appetite twists. It moves from here and you want to buy that there. That is how advertising really and truly distract you. It's a very sad thing, very, very sad thing is with pharmaceutical. They will run expensive ads telling you about arthritis and telling you about this and how to clean your heart, how to clean your arteries, how to clean your lungs and how to clean this, that, the next. You understand? And we succumb. We spend our good money, $500-$600 to get a bottle of capsule, right? Maybe 50 capsules or maybe 1 month supply, right? And they are making lots and lots and lots of monies, right? And you know something? Basically, when you look at the components, nobody is looking at that. Nobody, where is the Bureau of Standard? when it comes to pharmaceutical. Come back with that ad. Let me just read back that ad again, Director. Right. Illegal pharmaceutical sales putting lives at risk. Right? Now, who really and truly identifies what is illegal pharmaceutical sales? Come back to me. Who is the individuals or persons going around to find out that? Or is it a broad statement that has been made? Tell me something, right? If anything comes in this country, doesn't it go through customs hands? Doesn't it go through the different medical pharmaceutical boards if you bring in medication? When you're passing through customs especially, right? Does not those items be checked? So again, you know something? The question asked here today is who is guarding the guard? Because these things are coming in illegal or they're coming in legal, and you know something? People are making lots and lots of monies, but again, you know, things like that we are seeing illegal pharmaceutical sales put people's lives at risk. We know that because nobody is telling you the components. Nobody is telling you the components or the ingredients in that capsule, right? So again, continue, Director. Four arrested, drugs and cash seized in East. Again, dozen ticketed for speeding on wet highway. Now talk about the highway. Let me just talk about the highway. Yesterday I told you all I came down from San Fernando. Where did I go? Oh, I had a board meeting in San Fernando. And when we were coming back, I tell you something, the weather was temperamental in the sense that it was cloudy and so forth. It didn't have much rain when we was going, but when we was coming back, it was raining, right? And I tell you something, I saw in the median, in the little trench between the highway, a cement truck got stuck, and a big machine excavator was trying to get it out, and that caused a really and truly heavy backup from Gasparillo flyover there, a little before there, straight until San Fernando, right? I tell you that. So again, Trinidad and Tobago, be very, very mindful. If you get a ticket for speeding, thank the Lord, you get a ticket. Maybe it could have been something else. Maybe it could have been an announcement being made that it would have been your demise, right? So sometimes be very, very careful on the highway. We can't persecute the police. As I said before, the police has to do their job, and basically you should thank them. If you were speeding and you know you were speeding, you should thank them and say, officer, I thank you. Maybe I wasn't thinking right. Continue. All right, so WASA pledged better water supplies for Penal and Siparia. Now, Penal and Siparia, let me talk about Penal and Siparia. Penal and Siparia, right? I can't understand this. All the government that comes in, I do hope and pray that the United National Congress, with their divine wisdom, right, and the high intellect, that they would think about constructing some sort of reservoir where all those waters, natural water, the sweet water, could be trapped, right, and purified and sent back as good palatable water, right? I think that could happen, right? And you know something? Too much of flooding takes place every single year, and a lot of damages. When you look at the compensation, whether it be via agriculture, whether it be via the public enterprises, there are different public enterprises that has to pay damages. Like, for example, we saw an oil spill. Director, you have that clip? Yeah, we have an oil spill there, right? And I saw on social media that residents who are affected, some of those people, because they couldn't go to their homes, they could not benefit from even living in that perimeter of where the spill was, they were taken into a hotel, and they were there. Maybe they are still there. We don't know. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But the problem, and what I'm really trying to highlight, is a lot of money is going to be spent via compensation, whether it be flooding, whether it be natural disasters in any other ways, whether it be via electric poles falling or wires falling or overload and all these things. All those things are monies that is going to be spent and has to be paid by the government. I tell you all something. You know what pains me, Trinidad and Tobago? Not the monies that the farmers get. Not the monies that the farmers get. Maybe some farmers lie I'm telling you this, whether you like it or not. Maybe some farmers, maybe they get 2 acres flooding or 3 acres and they claim for 5. Let me leave it at that. Let me leave it at that, because anybody say differently, I tell you something, you really and truly have to rethink. Rethink what I'm saying here. I'm real. I'm living in the ground. I'm living in the ground floor. But the point I want to make here is that when you see for wrongful arrests by police officers, when you see wrongful arrests by certain individuals in our country, when people pull the file director, where the individual was awarded $1.3 million, right? Let me just read that there, please. Drop it a little bit, please. Right. 1.6 million for ex-Equal Opportunity Commission chief. Judge state unlawfully block renewal of contract. Listen carefully. Now that individual is going to collect $1.6 million. Why? Because there was some sort of individuals who never really and truly understood the law and understood the gravity of the law, and they tried to instill their own opinion on the law, and that is the outcome of it. Where the citizens of not the party, not the United National Congress, not the PNM, but the citizens like you and I, who work 14 and 15 hours per day in some cases, we have to pay that money because we have to pay Green Fund, corporate, we have to pay for this, pay for that, we have to pay VAT, we have to pay the whole charade. We have to pay. So when the government has to pay 1.6, and that is only a menial fee. That's only a menial fee. Year end, you're going to realize when we pull the files and we calculate how much monies were paid for wrongful decision taken by people who feel that they are above the law. We look at Vera Bagan and Bajan. Vera Bajan. That is the girl from Felicity who was bad from serving, I think, in Parliament as a senator or something like that. That I tell you, a case coming there. When we look at Erla case coming up soon. When we look at the next person, the next individual there, another DCP, right? Maybe case coming up there too. So when people feel that, they're going to make decision, fly-by-night decision, and feel that, I am vengeful, and I'm going to make a decision that really and truly doesn't warrant making that decision, you and I, the citizens of our country, will have to pay the brunt. We have to pay the fine for those individual anomalies. All right? Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to close out our program.
Welcome to Island Express Hardware, where we work with your budget. We supply all paints, all brands, and all sizes. And we are, of course, the cheapest in Trinidad. We also supply pumps and water tanks, and we also have them in combo deals. Visit us for the best friendly customer service. Need steel, beams, and purlins? We got that. We have top quality lats and boxing board, plyboards, gypsum boards, you name it. Do you love to fish? Have no fear, cause we have all the gears. Visit Island Express Hardware today, located at Rashid Avenue, Kakandi Road, Felicity, Shogunas.
My friends, a pleasant good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you who have now joined in our program, I am your host, Imam Rashid Karim. This program is Hard Facts, where we deal with relevant issues that is affecting our country, that is affecting the citizens of our country. And again, my friends, what is happening around the world, we speak about it. You understand? Because I tell you something, when we look at Islamic purview, speaking about it is the weakest of all. If you see something as a menace or a hindrance on the roadside, remove it with your hands. And if you can't do that, then speak about it. Maybe somebody else could correct it. It clearly indicates that it is the lower or the weaker of your strength, in other words. Because here it is, if you see somebody sick and you can help somebody, you help them. Right? You help them. You don't want to ask people, you ask people, give me a contribution, give me a contribution, give me a contribution. I want to do this, I want to do that. I don't like that. Come back to me, director. I don't like that. You see, let me tell you something. Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of people outside, they want to become charitable. Right? They want to become charitable. And out of that charitable, context that they plan, they include themselves in the charity. They're not doing it, they're not giving it out of their own free will. You understand? They're taking out gas money, they're taking out food money, they're taking out this wear and tear, they're taking out, and that, you know something? You want to be charitable, nothing wrong. Do a barbecue, right? Don't go by every business place and say, produce a list and produce this, and we want to get a 10-pound of cucumber, we want to get 4 cases of chicken, rice, oil, this. No, don't do that, just sell any ticket. If somebody want to contribute, nothing wrong. Nothing is wrong with that. But don't come for contribution and then you want to be charitable. Your organization wants to be charitable, but you don't have any money. You have to create means and avenues whereby, go down, rent a boat and carry a cruise. Nothing is wrong with that. Do barbecue, curry queue, Chinese queue. Do those things. But don't go by every business place and you want a 500, a 200, a this, a that. And you know something? You're doing a big show and you're taking the microphone and this, that, the next, and you're pretending that you is the best charitable person. I don't like that. I'm fed up at that. I'm fed up seeing people do that and they're getting away with murder. Because you know something? It seems as though they're giving the charity. You're not giving the charity. You understand? You are the spoon that feed the mouth. That's it, finish. Don't expect to say that you are the food. So those of you who are locked on, feel free to call me 3722129. As I close off the program here today, we're just going to recap a bit on state boards, because I noticed a few things there and people telling me to raise it. People telling me to raise it, but I, as a man like this, I'm going to raise it, sure. But before I raise it, I would like to verify. I would like to investigate when it comes to state boards, when it comes to contracts, when it comes to other things. I just don't want to come here and be like other talk show hosts, just rabble rouse and talk rubbish. No, no. What I want to do is, a lot of people calling me, as I said before, and talking about the state boards, Imam, why you don't talk about certain things. So I tell these people, I say, hear what? Let me investigate first. You all know that I spend a lot of time amongst those people, the very said ministers who are there. Whether or not they're not taking my calls, nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong, taking my calls or not responding or thinking that, I reneged or thinking that I left the party. Think what you want. Think what you want. But what I'm saying is, whatever I am doing here on this program, I'm not going to talk, because I tell you something, people has come with information. People has give me videos. And I wait. I tell you what I just normally do. I wait. I measure it. And I look and really and truly and see if this will bring any betterment to the both parties. You telling me highlight this. You telling me highlight this. You understand? Like for example, just a while ago, an individual came to me. I'm just giving you an example. Right? I'm not calling no names or nothing. And this person told me that he did a job 11 years ago. How much? 11 years ago. And when he got the job, the people asked if he could take all the money one time. Now this person is a good person, a generous person, a kind person. And so he said no, he will take his money piece by piece. So he did half of the work and they paid him half of the monies. And then he went back and he did the other portion of the work, but the people didn't pay him. Right? Now the value of the total job was 11,000. I think he collect 6,000. So he really and truly has to receive 5,000. So he came by me and he asking me, you know, how to retrieve this money. I said, how long it was? He said 11 years. 11 years. I said 11 years. If me was you, boss, to collect that $6,000, I would write off that as a charity. Because a certain individual, he owed me $67,000. $67,000 he owed me. And he passed on and he died. I lost that money. And you know something, the family knows that he owed me. And they make it as a cock and bull story. But I tell you something, I'm not fighting up that. I'm not fighting. I lost that money. I lost that money. But I tell you something, the family who inherit and who benefit, then in the long run, they have to pay. In the long run, they have to pay in the sense that, you know, the Lord is not sleeping. That's the reason why I remember this at Trinidad and Tobago. I tell you something. I went in Price Club supermarket. And when I went there, my wife and I purchased the goods, we come to the cashier and everything. And time to pay, I got to realize that the bag that I had the money in, I didn't have it on me. I didn't have it on the vehicle. I rested on the table and I leave it home. Lo and behold, the owners of Price Club supermarket, they knew me very well. I knew the owner. That would have been Mr. Yakub Ali. And the person who was the supervisor knew me very well. And they tell me, well, go ahead, and, Imam, you take the goods and you'll come back and pay. I say, here what? Cash it up, put it one side, and I rest the goods on the edge, on the trolley, and I went home, collect my money, I went and I pay. Because here what? I will carry the goods home, and then something might happen, and me ain't come back, I get a flat tire, so I went home, collect the money, pay the bill, and then I take the goods. But there are people who don't think like that. They want to be, you know, they want to do a big prayers. They want to do a big function. And they go in the supermarket and they credit in $12,000 and $5,000 and $8,000. Right? And they're not paying the people and they're doing a big prayers. How that prayers is going to be accepted? Knowing that you con people. This is the attitude of many people today. And I'm just reminding you, maybe some of you have done those things unknowingly and don't know. Thinking that, hey, you know, I'm doing a prayers and that's all right, man. He go give me that. No. Whatever you're doing, do it for the right reason, for the right purpose. And you're going to get the right benefit. Other than that, you're going to fail. And that is what this program is all about. Hard Facts is about that. Where we come here, we identify. I tell you something here. When we look at Barry Padarat, Minister in the Ministry of Public Utilities, Minister in the PM's office, right? I heard this, Miss Penelope Beckles mentioned this, that you know what she mentioned? She mentioned that, oh, Barry Padarat, you know, he acting as though he's the Prime Minister. Chances are he might be the Prime Minister. Because if you look at the history of Barry Padarat, he was the person who grew, when I say, he grew into politics side by side under the auspices of the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. He was the guy who would normally bring the folders. Before he came as a MP, a member of parliament, he was the person who was normally there, you know, as the administrator aide, as the attaché to the Prime Minister. So what's so wrong, right? What's so wrong that the Honorable Barry Padarat conduct himself in a manner? Everybody should be, so let me tell you something. Miss Penelope Beckles, your vision, right, and your aspiration is not to become the Prime Minister of the country? Tell me. And I think that many of those ministers who are in government, they would like to become the Prime Minister one day. That is the aspiration and the goals that they have to become the Prime Minister. So I don't see anything wrong if Barry Padarat, the Honorable Barry Padarat, wants to become the Prime Minister. Jack Warner was the Prime Minister, acting Prime Minister. Colm Imbert was the acting Prime Minister. Stuart Young was the Prime Minister. Not acting, he was the Prime Minister. Right? So I don't know what is going on there, but again, I will call a spade a spade. I will call a hoe. That's me. Right? So again, my friends, thank you all very much. Thank you all for viewing. Again, our program is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. My good friend, Mr. Premchand Baldev, he's going to be on the airwaves in about 2 weeks' time. His classes is going to be terminated in about 2 weeks' time, so he's going to be free, and he's going to join me in studio. So I'm just introducing the the comeback of Mr. Premchand Baliu. In just about 2 weeks' time, his courses is going to be terminated and he's going to come back in studio with me. So again, I want to thank the TikTokers. I want to thank all those persons who share our videos. I would like to thank the people on Facebook and those persons who are giving us information, those persons who are sharing information. And I just want to tell the CPEP Okas, you all bear patience for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks time. And again, you know what is going to happen? You all are going to be re-employed under new contractors. And that is the policy, that is the mandate, that is the wisdom. If the government wants to change the contractors simply because the contractors was politically appointed, nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. Who vexed laws? Right? So again, thank you all very much. And may God Almighty bless Trinidad and Tobago, bless the citizens of our country, bless the leaders of our country, and may God Almighty have mercy upon all human beings. I thank you. Bless they all.